Okay, everybody, this is Sean. I want to welcome everyone to the webinar. We've got a ton of people in the room today. We have we have 862 total people that have registered, and everybody's jumping on right now. So as you get on the webinar or in the event here, we have a couple of things that I want to talk about real quickly. We have a chat function where you're going to be asking questions. Go ahead and ask those questions. Use the chat box as much as you possibly can so that we can address any issues or concerns. Right now, just let me know that you can hear me though. You know, if you're out there, just type in that you can hear the audio okay, or that it's good to go, or anything that you want to say, okay? The other thing that we have is a poll. I want to understand what your biggest fears or concerns right now. Is it how much money to save for retirement or where to put it? What's more concerning for you at this time or stage in life? And then we also have the opportunity, if you're ready to get going and start working with Jeff and his team, then click the Start Here button that's in the offer section and download one of our financial worksheets. What we need to do is, you know, this is not an offer or a solicitation for an investment at all. And I want to make that perfectly clear. And so the first step is in really getting a good picture of your personal economy, where you are today, so that we can analyze it and see if this is a good fit for you in the future, or as a possible way to allocate your savings. Okay. All right. Well, if you have any questions, I've got a note here in the chat box that says, for additional information, you can email me at Sean, SEAN, at strategic-wealth.net. So if you have any questions, or if you couldn't get on this webinar and you're listening to the replay or you're watching the replay, then go ahead and just email me to that address, Sean at strategic-wealth.net, and we can take care of you and accommodate you. Okay. We got a ton of people that are entering the room right now. So why don't you go ahead and just give us a shout out. Tell us where you're calling in from or where you're joining us from, so that other people in the room know that they're not alone. This is a live webinar presentation. It's December 10th right now. It's 2 o'clock, 2:04 actually. So we better get going. More and more people are jumping on as I say that. Go ahead and participate in the poll and download the worksheet where the button says Start Here, so that we can get you going ahead of time if you are interested. I'm going to jump right into it, and I wanted to start real quickly with the agenda, what we're going to be talking about today. So the first thing on the agenda is I'm going to be addressing the problems with income at retirement. Meaning, where should we save our money and how much should we save for a safe, comfortable retirement? You know, there's a rule out there that most financial planners follow that's called the 4% rule. What is that? We're going to be going over that 4% rule here in a minute. Then I'm going to hand it over to Jeff. He's going to be going over the VIP loan opportunity that we talked about and that you saw in the video. He'll probably just do a high-level overview of the industry. And again, we're not trying to solicit any business here. This is strictly for educational purposes. And then at the end of this webinar jam, at the end of this event, you're going to have to make a decision about what's next for you. Okay. All right. So let me read the disclaimer real quickly. The following is for educational purposes only and should not be considered as specific investment or planning advice. Okay. Hold on. Let me back up real quickly. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see what I'm seeing right now. Okay. So like I said, the following is for educational purposes only. It should not be considered as specific investment or planning advice. Depending on individual circumstances, the strategies that we discuss in this presentation may not be appropriate for your situation. Any example or client case studies are purely hypothetical and are intended for illustrative purposes only. and highlight a single possible outcome. Your results may vary, okay? This material is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information with regard to the subject matter covered and is not rendering legal, accounting, or tax advice. For answers to specific questions and before you make any decisions, please consult with a qualified tax attorney or advisor who specializes in these areas. And then again, like I said, if you want more information or more guidance or direction, just email me at sean@strategic-wealth.net. You can do that anytime you want to. I'd be more than happy to help you out. Okay. Let me switch gears real quickly here and get into another part of the presentation. What I wanted to address with everybody today were the problems that we have with income streams at retirement. Okay, the main challenges that we have are they're not unique to any one particular person. It's just that basic financial planning and traditional financial planning has completely failed us at this point. So I wanted to start from the beginning, start from square one, and ask you, what is the underlying premise for all long-term savings that anybody does? In other words, why are you giving up current enjoyment of your income? Why not just spend it all today? You know, like the old adage goes, why not eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die? Okay. Well, the answer is so that we can have income streams at retirement. And so if that is the answer to the question, if that's the case, then it only makes sense to understand how income streams work at retirement so that we can direct our savings and what we're doing today in ways that give us the highest income when we retire. Okay. In other words, how retirement income streams work economically defines how we need to allocate our savings today. And the sooner you get on an efficient path, the greater the impact you'll have on your results. Make sense? Okay. So it's kind of like climbing a mountain. What is the objective? Is the objective to climb the mountain, get to the top, and take a selfie, and then that's it? No, it's not. There are two sides to the mountain. The objective is to go up the mountain and then safely come back down the mountain. This is a picture of Mount Everest, okay? And this is an interesting statistic. 75% of all the deaths that occur from climbers on Mount Everest occur on the way back down or on the descent on the mountain. Let me say that again. 75% of all deaths associated with climbing Mount Everest occur on the way back down during the descent. Why do you think that is? What would cause that unbelievably skewed number? Well, it's because most of the time, those people who die on Mount Everest haven't packed the right equipment before they started their journey up the mountain. Remember, this is a continuous journey. It's not just a climb up the mountain and that's it. And so you have to pack the right equipment in your backpack in order to get back down the mountain safely. Because when you go back down the mountain, especially in Everest, it's very uncertain, it's very volatile. You don't know what's going to happen. Weather conditions can change at any moment. You could have a complete whiteout and have to stay up on the mountain for a couple of days, use extra resources that you didn't plan on using. And that's what happens typically to people who die on Mount Everest. They have to use more resources, more oxygen, more food, more water than what they had planned on using before they started the trip. Okay. And so we consider the two sides of the mountain. The climb up the mountain is your accumulation phase. If we're talking about it in financial terms, that's the accumulation phase. That's when you're building up your nest egg. The climb down the mountain is the distribution phase. And so there are two different rates of return or interest rates that are important to look at on both sides of the mountain. You know, you have your accumulation interest rate and your distribution rate. And so understanding how income works on the distribution phase will determine how much or how quickly you can spend down your savings at retirement. Okay. Now, a while ago, a long time ago, companies used to have pension programs that allowed their employees to put in 40 hours of work a week. They would save a little bit of money in a pension fund for that employee. And so that pension would guarantee income for life during retirement. It was usually a good percentage of your salary in retirement. Well, that all changed in the 80s when they introduced the 401k. And all 401ks is an IRS tax code. It's section 401k, section 401, paragraph K of the IRS tax code that says you can save money pre-tax, let it grow and accumulate tax deferred, but it's taxed on the way out. And so what happened when 401ks were introduced? Well, it put the responsibility of income at retirement, took it away from the corporate shoulders and put it on your shoulders. And so economists today believe that in order for us not to run out of money in retirement before we die, we have to take out or spend down a limited amount of money out of our nest egg that we've accumulated in our 401k. And that number that they actually show you is anywhere from 3 to 4% a year. But I want to show you something here real quickly. I just Googled the 4% rule and a ton of articles came up. This one's from Charles Schwab and it says, is the 4% rule still appropriate? Well, economists today believe that the 4% rule of distribution, in other words, spending your money at the rate of 4% a year, is too much. It's too high. You're going to run out of money. If you spend your money down at 4% a year, then you're in jeopardy of running out of money. Okay, that's the bottom line. And so think about it this way. If you accumulate $1 million nest egg at retirement, and you can only spend that money down between 3 and 4% a year so that you don't run out of money, that's only $30,000 to $40,000 a year. How are you going to live on that if you're accustomed to living on $100,000 a year today? And what about inflation? You know, we haven't even talked about inflation or increased taxes, but $100,000 of income today with just 3% inflation 20 years from now will be $180,000, meaning you're going to have to spend more and more money as time goes on just because inflation is increasing so that you can preserve the purchasing power of those dollars. So $1 million nest egg at retirement is not sufficient. If you want to live on about $100,000 in retirement, if that's what you're accustomed to living on today, then you're going to have to save about $5 million in your nest egg just to be able to afford to live and not run out of money at retirement. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? All right. So let me get back into the chat room here real quickly. I'll stop sharing my screen real quick. All right, Jeff's here. He's in the chat room. So what I'd like to do, I don't think Jeff can get in the online necessarily, but he is in the chat room here and he can answer any questions. What I'd like to do is talk a little bit about this opportunity that Jeff's involved with. You know, he's a mentor of mine and he's become a really good friend of mine over the years. He's someone that I rely on and I lean on for advice and guidance a lot. He's very, very well connected with some key people, some really, really interesting key people. And so as such, he's afforded the opportunity of seeing and being exposed to certain deals, certain opportunities that even Wall Street would never even know about. All right. They're private opportunities that people bring to Jeff, and Jeff takes the ball and runs with it and manages the entire project. one of the key factors that I really love about Jeff and the way he manages his projects is that he's a control freak. And I say that in the most loving way because he loves to control the deal from start to finish. He doesn't want a third party to be involved in the deal where he doesn't have control over it. Does that make sense? And so whether it's with real estate, with families like the Hiltons, or whether it's this VIP loan fund that they've created, Jeff is a principal in every single deal, meaning it's his deal. He's not a broker. That's important. Why is that important? Well, it's important for a number of reasons, but the number one reason is because if you're talking to a broker who has access to a deal, that broker is getting paid for introducing you to the deal. And so what that does economically speaking is it just simply dilutes your returns on the deal itself. And so, shoot, it's a shame that Jeff can't get on right now, but let's see here. Why don't we do this? Let's start with just a simple Q&A about this deal. Everybody that's on this call right now or on this webinar has viewed, I'm assuming they've viewed the that was sent out. That video just gives you a high level overview of the program itself and the industry itself. And so go ahead and start chatting and asking Jeff some questions about that deal in particular if you're interested. I want to give everybody an opportunity to do that. Okay. All right. No questions so far. All right. If you're interested in getting involved in this opportunity, there's a button there that says start here. The way that this works is because this is an educational webinar, we're not pitching a deal. We're not trying to sell you anything. We're just trying to inform you about these different opportunities that are available. The way this works is you have to ask us for information. And so if you click that button that says start here, that's your first step. And so we see a lot of people are actually clicking that button and getting that, downloading that fact finder report. What we need to do is pre-qualify you before you're introduced to Jeff and his team. Okay. So I really encourage you to download that financial worksheet and fill it out and email it back to me. Again, you can email it to myself personally, Sean@strategic-wealth.net. Okay. Now, shoot, this is a bummer. I wish that Jeff could be speaking right now. He must have some issue with his computer. It might be time for you to get a Macintosh, buddy. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and move forward to kind of give you an overview or a picture of how we actually manage clients' funds and what we do to improve those income streams at retirement. Okay, so let me share my screen again real quickly with you. All right, the way we do this is we set up an operating account. And that operating account just happens to be a life insurance contract. Now, the reason we like life insurance is because it comes with several benefits. There are tons and tons of benefits. You know, you can use any kind of an account to collateralize and take a loan against. You can take a loan against your savings account. You can take a loan against a money market account, a CD, a 401k. You can do a margin account, a home equity line of credit. You can even get a signature loan or an IOU from a friend. But you can see the insurance company offers you loan access with non-structured payments. If you choose to get a loan from any of these other sources, it's going to carry with it not only interest expense that you have to repay. So not only do you have to repay the principal balance, but you also have to repay interest. But you also have to pay that money back on a specific schedule, either a 10-year loan, a 15-year loan, a 30-year loan, whatever the case may be, okay? What we do instead is we use life insurance as your capital account, and we call this strategy the reserve capital strategy. And all it means is we simply structure a insurance account to hold cash value or cash where it's safe, liquid, has a great rate of return, and earns dividends, and also gives you complete access and control of the money. So you're not just keeping it's not a situation of an either or situation where you either put your money into life insurance or you can invest in opportunities like the one that we're showing you right now. It's both together. You can save your money safely in a life insurance contract where it's guaranteed, where it's literally a unilateral contract between you and the company, meaning it's lawsuit proof, judgment proof, and creditor proof. Nobody can touch the money in the account, and it allows you to become the bank. You can use these accounts as your own banking system, all right? Now, the way that works is very simple. When you set up an account, an insurance account, and you want to take out a loan against the account, the insurance company just simply creates a lien and collateralizes a portion of your account. All right. They give you a loan and you use that loan, you use that money to pay for expenses or, buy a car, pay for college, pay for a wedding, whatever the case may be, or roll all this up and call it an investment. It doesn't matter. All right. The beauty, though, is that you don't have to pay this loan back in any type of structured payment schedule. The insurance company in the contract itself says that you don't have to pay the loan back at all if you don't want to. In fact, the dirty little secret in the life insurance industry is that they want you to take out as many loans as you possibly can so that when you die, you're left with this huge loan balance and they don't have to pay out a death benefit. What we do is we recommend that you do repay those loans back to yourself. When you do that, all interest expense that's accrued on the loan is refunded back to your account, added to your principal balance as dividends or real income, and adds to the total balance and just has a huge compounding effect. Okay? And so permanent life insurance, when designed and utilized properly, can provide stable growth, cash value collateralization, guaranteed loan access. Remember, if you go to a bank and try and get a loan for a margin account or against a CD, you still have to qualify for that loan and you have to put up that money as collateral. They can call that loan due at any time, okay? But with life insurance, it's completely different. There's no annual tax on the growth of your account and on the death benefit. And there are also additional benefits that are available with additional riders. Like the policies we write, they all carry with them a long-term care rider that pays for any long-term care needs if you should require that later on in life. Okay. Now, when you work this system in conjunction with opportunities like the opportunities that Jeff has available, this is where the magic really happens. Okay. Now, the current dividend rate for these life insurance policies that we use, the current dividend rate is 6%. How do they get that dividend rate? Well, it's very simple. What they do is they take your premium dollars, the money that you put into the account, including your cash value, and they loan that money out in the form of a bond or a loan that's a short-term loan, okay? You participate in that profitability of the company. And so the company that I'm writing the most insurance with right now, their stated dividend rate is 6%. You're guaranteed at least 3% minimum on your money every year. But as interest rates, think about this, as interest rates go up, if we do see some serious problems in the economy and the Fed has to raise interest rates, imagine back in the 80s, in the early 80s, late 70s and early 80s, interest rates are in the 15 to 20% range. Well, if that happens again, your dividend rate will also increase commensurate with that, because these life insurance companies are always trying to get the best return or dividend paid back to their policyholders. All right. Well, I'm going to talk about these opportunities in theory. Okay. The VIP loan opportunity right now has two different options.
Are you there, Sean?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can. Just letting you know I finally made it on.
Okay, great. I tell you what, Jeff, I'm gonna stop this right now, and I'm going to let you tell people a little bit about this industry and about the opportunity in particular. So go for it.
Okay. Well, you want me to talk specifically about what we're doing, how we're doing it, or what is?
Yeah. Why don't we say? Okay. Let me start with this question. What is a VIP loan?
Typically, what we've done is we've gone into that particular market, and what typically happens in that industry is there's about a 25 to 30% default rate on any loans that are executed or given out. So we went into that space and started looking at some of the other big players that are in that space, and how would we reduce that rate so that the default rate isn't a major factor on the profit side. So what we were able to do is go to a lot of existing banks that had already had established accounts and signature loans with these folks. And after they're established with a credit line, it gives them a much better profile as far as a lending profile. So we were able to take that profile and put it into a huge database, and with analytics, it actually pulls out the top 10% to 15% of those clients. And then after repetition of those notes, and they become a VIP because they have a track record of regular payments, just like a FICO score would give somebody a much better file that you would want to actually lend to because of.
So you're talking about the cream of the crop, basically.
Correct. So with that, it actually reduces our overall default rate to below 10%. It hovers around 4 to 5%.
Wow. Compared to what is the industry standard? 30? Wow. That's huge. And so you created a fund that basically takes these high-performing loans away from the banking system, and now you're the bank.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct. We play the bank. And the best thing about it is, with all the new regulations that this administration is putting in place, they're actually giving them to us. They don't.
Wow.
They're not going in. It's very difficult for the average Joe off the street to go in and get a signature loan, and especially if it's a short-term loan.
Yeah, it is. So you're talking about excellent FICO scores, excellent payment history. You've got this fund. So a lot of our clients have invested in deals similar to this before, where they've lent out their money, but they've lent it out to a single borrower.
Sure.
How many loans are actually in this fund right now?
Oh, there's probably about 27,000 to date.
Wow.
And basically what you have to look at, the reason ours is different than some of those other companies that are doing the commercial and B2B lending, is the fact that you tie up $100,000 on one person. So if you have $100,000 invested in them, and they have any type of market correction or economic factors that won't allow them to repay the loan in full or even on time, it jeopardizes the overall performance of the portfolio itself. The reason we do it the way we do is because we take that $100,000 and we break it over, into 1,000 loans.
That makes sense. So that's
diversification. Sure, it's an insurance play in the fact that someone told me the other day that it would actually, you have a better chance of losing all your money compared to this would be like winning the lottery twice for you to lose all of your money. So
wow.
It's not I don't want to say that it's the best thing since sliced bread, but I will say that a lot of things have been put in place to prevent any type of catastrophic loss.
Sure. Yeah, a lot of people are just exiting other investments where they lent their money for one project and that project didn't perform as expected, or they lent their money to an oil and gas fund that's doing the fracking concept, which you and I both know oil and gas is down significantly.
Rough
So
spot
the
right
returns
now.
aren't there. So debt as a productive asset is huge.
It really is huge. And the way you have to look at it is, would you rather have 100% of one investment opportunity, or, excuse me, 100% of one that could possibly fail, or 1% of 100 different ones that actually increase your likelihood of success?
That's good. I like that phraseology.
Absolutely.
Well, what are some of the risks associated with lending like this? I mean, besides the default rate, what do you think about the global economic future in this type of fund?
Well, the sad thing is, with the current administration, they've done a lot of things to actually prevent this type of lending. And at first, we didn't understand what was going on. We partner with a lot of different firms, and there are a lot of big players in this market. The Hilton Group, Great White Shark Fund, both of those are huge players, and so we've been able to piggyback off of our relationships with some of those guys to actually get in a really good position to see the behind the scenes and why it's so important for us to be in this industry. And the first thing that we realized is the government was trying to monitor through the CFPB and actually curtail this type of lending, because it's almost like B2B, which there is no regulation on B2B. And that's why so many people tend to like that industry. But back in 2008 and 9, and then again in 11 and 12, they started trying to curtail this industry, and no one could figure out why. Well, recently we just found out that there's a proposal that they're trying to pass that would allow the United States Post Office to do this type of lending to supplement their income and as a revenue stream. And so they are literally trying to push the free market out, so that in any town in America, you walk into the post office and get a short-term loan. And they're doing it because they realize that it's highly profitable.
That's fascinating.
Sure, and the security's there based off of the volume.
Yeah. It's interesting that whenever there's a profitable investment, the government wants in on it.
They actually want to take it away from the free market.
Wow. So we've had several clients invest with you in this deal and other deals as well. And a few of them have contacted me. Several of them have said the same thing. They can't believe this is true. They can't believe that there's these opportunities available.
Sure.
It's not something to hear about.
Right. Well, these type of opportunities are really rare. You don't see them often, and most of the time the general public can't get into those type of deals. And we've been fortunate enough, as I said, to partner with some pretty large players in that game, and we've established our own fund in doing that. So it's an alternative asset that people who don't enjoy being in the market, or who see the fall coming from in the market, that want another safe place to put their stuff. And if you want to look at what is better, a stock or this type of investment, I'll tell you that ours actually has a better liquidity rate than stocks ever will. It also has for me, more security because of the short-term nature of the funding.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that. What is the collateral against these types of loans or against the fund itself?
Okay.
How do you secure it?
Sure. The loans themselves do not have any way to secure it because they're signature loans. But what we do create is, for each portfolio, it has a UCC that is secured by the actual lead itself. And if you have ever talked about generating traffic or or creating leads in any business right now. You can go online and pick in any industry you want. When you have a performing lead, someone that you know is going to continue to use that loan 2 and 3 times a year, they're worth their weight in gold. So the value is not only in the loan itself, but also in the lead itself. Each time and every time that they complete a loan successfully, then there's value there in that lead itself.
That's awesome. So it is a secured loan.
It's not secured loan. It is the actual asset, or the actual lead itself then has a valuation, and that is what you get the UCC for the dollar amount of the lending.
Got it. That makes sense. So in today's world, like Jeff said, you do not want to be in just paper stocks. True wealth is not built from a nominal increase in stock price. And the best example that I can ever give, and Jeff's probably heard this 1,000 times, is the country of Zimbabwe. All right? Zimbabwe's stock market has grown faster and higher than any other stock market on the planet in nominal increase, nominal growth. The problem that they have over in Zimbabwe now is that it costs literally, no joke, about 3 trillion Zimbabwean dollars to buy 3A.
Good.
So your stocks can triple in price and you've lost all your money. Versus a productive asset like this, where you're generating real income. And so let's talk about the different structures of this opportunity. What are the 2 different ways that people can participate?
In the portfolio that we currently have?
Yes, sir.
So basically, what we were allowing our clients to do is they can actually fund. There's 2 loan types. We created just one basic fund, and I've never heard this in such high number of investors they were telling us, well, we don't want the money back. So everything we make, we don't want it back. Can you just roll it into the deal? And so that creates a paperwork nightmare. So what we were able to do is create a second fund that actually, if you don't want those monthly mailbox payments or monthly checks, what we'll do is you get a slightly raised interest rate to leave it set for the full term of the portfolio. We've had 3 portfolios, and they're all 36 months, so we're into the last one now.
Okay.
And so you can get 15% is what they were paying, and that is a monthly check. What we send you is actually reducing the principal each month, so it's not a taxable event until the entire note is repaid. So you are getting that monthly, and basically what it is, you take your principal 15%, divide that by 12, and that's your monthly payment. But instead of being income, it is actually a reduction of principal. And that's
important for people to understand.
Absolutely. It's a non-taxable event until the end of the investment or the portfolio.
Yes. And you're still in the deal.
Correct.
So you're getting your principal balance back first, which is not taxable, and you're still in the deal, earning 50%
on the full balance. Correct.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's unheard of.
Yeah. What's the second way people can choose?
The other one is if you put it in there and roll it, it's 16.5%. And
Right.
what happens is it says there you get monthly statements showing your balance and your increase each month, and then at the end of the term of that 36 months, you actually get to roll into. You'll get your principal and your actual profit or interest in one lump sum at the end.
That's amazing.
Sure.
So, from my perspective, if you're at retirement age and you need that extra additional income stream, then you could choose to take those distributions every month.
You could.
If you're using IRA money or some kind of qualified account that we repositioned so that you're managing it instead of Fidelity or Charles Schwab, you can invest that money and just let it roll until the fund's done and it exits. And then you're on to the next deal.
Absolutely. There's an arbitrage piece on the 15, which you can explain to everybody. That's nice to get that principal back and play with it somewhere else as well. But the higher interest rate, if you're not needing those or want to basically just put it in and let it ride, that's the best way. The third one, both of those are almost complete. The first one is completely full. The second one's almost full.
Okay.
And we're creating a third portfolio that it's a blend of those two, and people love it. We have a lot of people that were in IRA services, and they had a mandatory reduction because they're at that stage of their IRA and their retirement. So they had a mandatory reduction that they have to take each year, distribution. So what we've done is we've created the fourth one is a blended rate. So what that's going to look like is you'll have it's a 14% yield. You get 4% back each month, and then at the end you get 10%. So it's paying. What it allows them to do is it allows them to pay for any fees or and a small income stream if they need it off the 4% that they get back monthly. And then the 10% will be at the end. So it's a blend to actually service those people better. So that's what our next portfolio will look like.
That's fascinating, the way it's structured. So I've got up on my screen right now. I don't know if everybody can see it, but this is the arbitrage opportunity that Jeff was talking about. And what I've done is I've incorporated the life insurance piece into that opportunity. Okay. And so if you have a permanent life insurance contract with cash value in it, right now, again, the dividend rate that is paid on that policy is 6%. You are guaranteed loans at any time you want from those policies. Let's say that you borrow out $100,000 to invest in that opportunity with Jeff. Okay. Current borrowing rates from the insurance company is 4.75%. So the arbitrage is the difference between that rate of return that you're getting on the opportunity minus the interest expense that you're paying on that loan. The cool thing is policy loan interest could be deductible as investment expense. Of course, you got to contact your CPA to make sure that it's appropriate for you. Okay. Here's where the magic happens with incorporating this random asset class called life insurance, and in conjunction with real world assets and real world investments. All right. When you use your insurance account and you invest that money into any opportunity and you generate returns, those returns can be handled in different ways. You have 3 different options to take those returns. You can repay the loan back to your insurance account, and if you do that, here's the magic. Whatever interest has accrued on that loan is refunded back into your insurance policy. Let me say that again. When you take the interest that you're earning from the deal, or the income you're earning from the deal, if you repay that loan, all interest is recaptured back into your insurance account. And so it's like having a 0% line of credit. Does that make sense? All right. So imagine this, you're earning 15% over here in this opportunity, but you're also earning 66% on the same $100,000. So your real rate of return in this situation is 21% rate of return. Does everybody see that? Does that make sense? You can also take that money, that cash that you're making, or the returns that the deal is generating, and reinvest those dividends. If you do that, like Jeff said, your rate of return is much higher on the fund. And then once the fund is done, because you don't have to repay these loans on any particular schedule, when you cash out of the deal and you're done with the deal, you repay all these loans, these outstanding loans, and now you haven't gotten 15%. Now you've gotten 16.5 plus the 6% dividend credit for a total of 22.5% interest. What deal can you find out there that can work like this? Okay. And then the third option, obviously, is if you want to take the extra additional cash flow or income, you can always buy more insurance. Now, why do we do that? Well, because all insurance contracts offer tax-deferred growth, just like an IRA or a 401k. You can have tax-free distribution of your money. Okay, so imagine this. This money that you're earning from the deal is taxable income to you. But what if you took out a loan from your policy when you cashed out of the deal to pay Uncle Sam? You know, you borrow the money out of your account to live on, and it's a loan, and it's not considered ordinary passive or portfolio income. Therefore, it's non-taxable. You also get competitive rates of return inside your policy. You can contribute as much as you want to the policy up to a certain limit, depending on how big the policy is. You also have additional benefits like long-term care, like we mentioned before. You have collateral opportunities. You don't have to take a loan from the life insurance company. You can use this account as collateral and take out a loan from the bank if you want to. It's no different than a home equity line of credit. It's considered a safe harbor, which means it's lawsuit proof, judgment proof, and creditor proof. Nobody can touch the money inside this life insurance account. You have guarantees, no loss provisions, meaning whenever you repay the loan or dividends are paid into account, whatever money goes back into the account is guaranteed and against any loss. Okay. You're also guaranteed loans at any time. Because this is a contract, a unilateral contract, you're guaranteed loans whenever you want them. Okay. So when the next deal is ready, when you exit this VIP loan deal and you're ready to jump into the next opportunity with Jeff or his team, you can just simply take out another policy loan. All right. You don't have to pay the policy loans back on any particular schedule. So you can have an outstanding loan for as long as that financial opportunity is out there. And then when you exit the deal, you can dump all that money back into the life insurance contract, recapturing the interest and adding more to the total balance, which just starts the compounding effect even faster. You have liquidity and use and control of your funds, and the contributions that you make into the account could be tax deductible depending on your circumstances. Okay. So we absolutely love this strategy. Okay. We love it for a number of reasons. It's a simple strategy to understand. It's a simple way for you to be the bank and recapture any interest that you would have paid to a bank loan or to any other type of lending facility. And it just creates that arbitrage factor where you can get huge interest rates or rates of return and build that nest egg up as big as you possibly can, so that for the purpose of generating more income for yourself at retirement. All right. I hope that makes sense to everybody. Jeff, did you have anything else that you wanted to say before we jump into Q&A here?
No, I just think they work very well in tandem with the things that you're doing with the insurance policy. So I think you covered everything that I would add.
Perfect. So the way to get started, ladies and gentlemen, is very simple. In this offer, when you click on the offers, you can download this fact finder, this financial fact finder, and send it back to me. Again, My email is sean@strategic-wealth.net. Download this fact finder, fill it out as best you can. And what that does is it allows us to pre-qualify you. Because we're not selling anything here, Jeff's not going to reach out to you. If you want an introduction to Jeff and his team, I'd be more than happy to introduce you guys, but we have to go through the proper channels to do so. Okay? We're not soliciting anything. We're not offering any investment here. This is just purely an educational webinar. If you want to take the next step, then please feel free to contact me at any time. All right? So we're coming up on 2:50, and I think we've wrapped it up. We don't have any questions here, which I'm shocked. We have a total of 863 people that are in the room, and nobody has any questions. It sounds like everybody's being shy today. So if you have questions, reach out to me. Again, my email is sean@strategic-wealth.net. You can ask me any questions, and I can get you in touch with Jeff and his team if it's appropriate. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to let everybody go. Join us next week, and we're going to be digging even deeper into these strategies and how best to maximize or optimize your retirement income. Okay? Jeff, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Enjoyed it.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Take care.